Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5,000 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5,000. Enjoy!
Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Old Men Yell at Cloud. Joining me is Christopher Brown.
Call me Skippy.
And Jim Schultz.
Hey, pal.
And yours truly, Patrick S. Barry. And joining us today as our guest at Cloud Yeller. You may know him as my co-host on Jukebox Zeroes, or you may have seen him playing drums for Lowell Mass indie band Surprise Party or performing as DJ Sawtooth. I am just tickled to introduce Lilz Martin.
Hey.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, that was
sure
good.
What that was.
I really appreciated the abrupt stop.
I had to pull up with my hello for a second.
No, I'm glad you did that because yeah, that was pretty.
Would have crashed into the barn.
What barn? You're not supposed to know about
anyway.
the barn. Wait, this isn't Jukebox Zeroes. We need to rein this back in.
Where's
Yes.
Jim Beans
Who
at?
am I? Where are my pants?
Yes, that does
That's to
happen.
Andy
every
Rooney. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I don't know how I got back home.
Mornings were better in my day.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like these mornings.
So many teenagers.
Back in my morning, it was good to you to have a steak for breakfast. Now they say it's gonna give me heart disease. Which is it?
Oh,
We gotta stop
man.
imitating actual old people because it's really not funny.
I mean, they're doing it to themselves, you know.
No, I mean, it's fun to make fun of old people, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the entertainment value for those out there listening to this is probably pretty
It's
limited.
kind of a niche audience.
Yeah, exactly.
As part of an already niche audience.
Is it
A niche audience inside of another niche audience.
Yeah.
I was going to cross the line, but I decided against it.
Why not?
Yeah, you're right. So, Dick Clark's last New Year's countdown, where he fucked up the countdown, I laughed really hard.
How did he fuck it up?
I think he counted 13 twice.
It'd be funny if like his eyes just like went red and he just said 13.
He keeps saying 13 over and over, and then someone like pokes him in the back of the head with a broom, and then he just resumes 12.
No, it's just more
Oh,
like
God, it's a
13.
droid.
It's more like 13.
You know what the crazy...
13, 7, 6, 5.
The craziest part about that whole thing is like you could see Ryan Seacrest out of the corner of the screen, like just staring at him, like I can't wait for you to fucking die so I can take this thing over. This is my fucking New Year's Rocket Eve now. Fuck you, Dick.
Pretty soon, my step stool will be in front of the camera.
Why does your Ryan Seacrest sound a lot like Andy Rooney?
Because he's a little Andy Rooney in every way,
Okay.
shape, and form.
Less cantankerous, I bet.
Just give him time.
Oh yeah, he'll get there.
Anyway,
What the fuck are we doing?
Anyway, we're doing a music podcast, right? Where we talk about a little vinyl that we listen to with our buddies.
Oh, but before we actually get into the music,
okay.
not to jump back an episode, but I was listening to your last episode on the Steve Albini album with the
McCluskey.
Future and the Left Guys.
Yeah.
I already forgot the name. McCluskey did his Dallas or whatever it was. I have a driving and flipping off story.
Okay.
To refer
right.
back to that one. This literally happened a couple days ago. I was driving to work. I was driving on 95 going to Malden, and for a while I was behind this school bus full of kids in 13, 14, that age where they're just like, PewDiePie's hilarious kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them just flips me off, and all of his friends around him are just like, yeah. And I'm not really sure how to react, so after a beat, I just I flip them off too. And I can't hear what they're saying because they're in the school bus, but I can clearly see them going, "Wow! I can't believe he did it!"
I provoked an adult to be an asshole to me by being an asshole to them first.
Lee did the next logical thing and lit the bus on fire.
It's is that all it takes? Is that all it takes to appeal to the youths of today? Just flipping them off?
Christ, we are all aging. We got to stop fucking talking about this shit. Let's talk about this fucking album because we're all getting very old.
Yeah,
very
let's
fast.
talk about some people that are older than
And
us.
another thing about Twitch.
What is Twitch?
Anyway.
Just move on. Just move on. Just move on.
All right. Yeah.
Don't listen
all
to him
right.
for a while.
So on today's episode, we're discussing, not disgusting. We're discussing Talking
we are
Heads' fourth
disgusting.
studio album, Remain in Light, released on October 8th, 1980. It was recorded at Compass Point Studios in the Bahamas and Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia between July and August 1980, and produced by longtime collaborator Brian Eno. The record draws hugely from the influence of Nigerian musician Fela Kuti, particularly his 1973 album Aphrodisiac. Following the success of their previous album Fear of Music, lead singer David Byrne experienced a bout of writer's block and began working with producer Brian Eno on the experimental electronic record My Life in the Bush with Ghosts, another pretty fucking fantastic record. The relentless sample looping Byrne and Eno would craft on this record, coupled with the band's newfound interest in Afrobeat and early hip-hop, would inform much of what would create Remain in Light. Focusing less on being a solo vehicle for Byrne's compositions, the songs were most the products of a long-winded jam sessions that were subsequently sifted through and re-recorded as proper quote-unquote arrangements. Before the studio sessions began, longtime friend David Gans instructed the band that the things one doesn't intend are the seeds for a more interesting future. He encouraged them to experiment, improvise, and make use of mistakes. The recording process was geared to promote the expression of instinct and spontaneity without overtly focusing on the sound of the final product. Eno compared the creative process to looking out to the world and saying, "What a fantastic place we live in. Let's celebrate it."
Fucking Eno. Yeah. So
What a grump.
I like Eno, but goddamn, anytime the man opens his mouth, he makes it really difficult for me.
I was gonna say they recorded this in the Bahamas in July. That must have sucked.
Can you
It must have been hot as fuck.
Can you imagine being in the Bahamas with David Byrne and what that experience must be like?
Well, he's definitely-
we are out on the beach right now, and there is sand here.
I'm walking on the beach.
He's definitely wearing a Hawaiian
I stepped
shirt.
on a clam. My foot is in pain. I'm walking on
Hey, Brian, look at the seaweed. Isn't it just wonderful? All right, I will see you tomorrow.
I don't like it. I'm Brian Eno.
People have stopped appreciating seaweed many, many years ago.
I heard a rumor that around the time that they were making this album, that Eno and Byrne had been spending so much time together that they started shopping together, like for clothing.
Oh, yeah.
And they were basically wearing the same clothes because
yeah.
they would go buy the same exact thing. So they would show up to the studio wearing fucking dressed alike.
And by that, you mean, of course, they were wearing the same exact pair of pants, as in they were inside of the same pair of pants.
They
at
became
once.
became a conjoined twin during
Yeah,
the
it was comically
recording
oversized
session.
pants. Like it made me think of the childhood game Ants in the Pants, where you had to flick the ants into the giant set
into
of
the
overalls.
pants.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I
so-
remember it as well.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm here. This is my friend Brian. He's my bestie. He's coming to my birthday party. There's gonna be a bounce house.
Ants
We
in the
had to
pants.
learn to coordinate our walk in these pants, but it's not much more difficult than the two people dressed up as a horse shenanigan.
All right. Let's go. Let's bring this on back. Let's go around the old horn and talk about our favorite tracks. Why don't we start with our guest,
Yo.
Lee?
So this is gonna be like the most pleb answer that you could possibly give, but for my best, I put Once in a Lifetime.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful
This is gonna seem like a hot take, or maybe not, but everyone considers this album to be like the best Talking Heads album and one of the best of the 1980s. I don't think it's the best Talking Heads album. I don't even think it's the second best Talking Heads album.
I'll back you up there.
I'm going to agree.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not so hot a take. Because, like, my problem with it is so many of the songs just feel more like jams, and I don't like jam music, so much at all.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
So I picked Once in a Lifetime as my favorite because it feels the most like a complete song and the most together. I mean, obviously, like, there's a lot of bias because it was such a big hit, and it's, you know, like a classic at this point, but
It's a weird
that's just how
fucking song in its own right, though.
Yeah.
It's unusual.
And it captures the weirdness of you know what the album is trying to achieve, I guess.
Yeah.
When my brother and I were like really young, we were visiting my grandparents in Ann Arbor. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
They took us like on one of their many little like trips and stuff to a museum. Like this was like this kind of museum of media, and there was an exhibit where they showed you how a green screen worked by basically playing little clips of music videos on a screen next to the green screen. And one of the clips they played was the video to Once in a Lifetime. So you just have the music video to Once in a Lifetime and like a 10-year-old kid standing in front of it looking confused.
That's so fucking surreal.
It kind of is. And it's already a surreal music video.
Like, did they
Can you
give him the
imagine
big
fucking-
suit?
Can you imagine going in there on like acid and like seeing like a child awkwardly standing in front of the Once in a Lifetime video?
I mean,
where there's like four David Byrnes duck walking across the screen.
I get the point of it. It was just because there was like a little plaque to the side, like when you stand in front of the green screen, your image is superimposed upon. But when you just look at the screen, just like a little kid against like the fucking box people from Money for Nothing, which was
Yeah.
another clip.
Yep.
Oh God!
I did a Universal Studios tour when I was little, and they did the same thing, like demonstrating how then a blue screen worked. And they did it by showing how they could make it look like a child who was on a stationary bike was flying, like an ET.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too.
So I raised
Yeah.
my hand to volunteer because I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And they didn't pick me. They picked some other fucking piece of shit. And the kid that they picked, this is how much of a fucking piece of shit he was. He sat on the bike and he didn't even pedal. Like, he can see himself on the screen. He's just like, huh. And he's like so bewildered by the fact that he's on the screen. Like, apparently movie magic blew this fucking kid's mind so much that he couldn't pedal.
Oh,
My
boy.
favorite song was Once in a Lifetime. Wow. Yeah. Again, not an exciting answer to give, but it was the first Talking Head song that I really loved. It's what really got me into them in high school, and there's something about the way that David Byrne proclaims "There is water at the bottom of the ocean."
Yeah.
That fucking I just love.
Guys,
it just sounds like-
listen to me.
Exactly.
There is water at the bottom of the ocean.
Eureka! I have discovered it. Like, yeah, I just fucking, I love the song. It's wonderful. Everything about it is fucking great. And yeah, it's a boring answer, but I'm sticking with it.
I gotta find my friend Brian and tell him he's gonna blow his top.
I almost picked Once in a Lifetime, but I picked The Great Curve instead.
Really?
Because I really liked the vocal layering. I think it was a very like moving and driving song. I wouldn't say maybe it didn't slam. But,
it reminded me of a track by the Contortions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just a layering in general. There was some bongos
Look
going
'em
on
up,
in there.
kids.
I will.
Some bongos going on. I thought were cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were congas. I have a hard time telling the difference.
Those congas, probably. Robert Palmer plays of, Addicted to Love fame, allegedly does some percussion on this record.
I just adore that.
Yeah.
I
Isn't that a nice
really
story?
like the idea of having someone who is well known for doing one thing and bringing them in to do something fucking subtle that you're never gonna notice.
I would imagine that like if YouTube existed back then, there would be one of those like cutesy, wholesome content videos of Robert Palmer being like let into the studio to record on the Talking Heads album just because it's so goddamn cute.
Patrick, what's your favorite song?
Thanks for backing me up, Christopher. My favorite is Cross-Eyed.
me.
My favorite is Cross-Eyed and Painless.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Lost my shape, trying to act casual. Can't stop. I might end up in the hospital, changing my shape.
Yeah, it's just something about that, like the production just like really snaps.
That song reminded me of like, I feel like it could have been a great theme song to like a 1970s like buddy cop movie.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, totally.
It kind of could have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're my partner and you take a bullet for me.
2 weeks till retirement. 2 weeks till retirement.
and he's a monkey.
You said 70s, not 80s.
He was a monkey. Yeah, it has this very frantic vibe to it, but it also grooves. It's a very just reminds me of like an anxiety attack, but like I've got control of this anxiety attack, like I'm doing coke or something. I don't know. That's kind of what I always got out of it. I always had this sort of like
It was the 80s.
It was the 80s, October 8th or 7th, 1980. I don't remember.
Yes, that's long enough to be 80s.
Yeah, it was doing enough. Like they knew it was the 80s at that point.
The 70s ended on that day in October 1980.
Indeed. Whenever the last Eagles single came out was the end of the 70s, I think. That was the official end, which I think was sometime in the 80s. All right. Least favorite, Lee.
My least favorite, I picked Seen and Not Seen.
He would see faces in movies, on TV, in magazines, and in books. He thought that some of these faces might be right for him, and that through the years...
All right.
Like, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like jam band music so much, and this felt very much like a jammy song. Like, I also kind of felt like if you took out the vocals, if you took out Dave Byrne, you'd have, like, that whole thing would just be a video game level. Like in like some kind, like in a level of Space Quest or something like that. This would be where like the alien cafeteria or something like that. It also kind of reminded me of like a Gorillaz song in a lot of ways, but I was also thinking like, yeah, this is like Gorillaz, but fucking Damon Albarn would put a chorus in too.
It's the one where you can really tell that it's improvisational, like that's sort of the
totally
the focus of it. That was sort of it where it reveals itself the most that it was of an improvisation.
Yes, I
nature.
know. Because that one had that ascending two-note keyboard riff that was actually like obviously very simple because it's two notes, but I thought added a lot to the song.
Yeah, I would agree. I actually do like that song.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad song, It's just not my favorite on the album. And like it's tracks like this that made me tend to think that Once in a Lifetime is a much better Brian Eno album than a Talking Heads album, at least compared to other Talking Heads albums.
Interesting. Christopher?
Oh, guess it's my turn. You know what? I'm gonna go with Houses in Motion.
I'm walking a line. I'm thinking about emotion. I'm walking a line. Just barely enough to believe in. Get out of the way. This isn't the time. I'm talking about. I'm turning around.
All I wrote down for it was head bob and groove, but not a lot else.
All right.
It's got that elephant trumpet in there, man.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, the horns were kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, that wasn't enough to kind of plummet from the depths of my least favorite.
Oh, God.
Those recurring like horn sections that recurring horn section kind of made it sound like a spy movie a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know, it kind of reminded me of the opening bits of that fucking Interpol song from was it Pioneer to the Falls that has like the intentionally out of key keyboards that always bothered me.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When I say spy movie, I mean like George Lazenby spy movie, of course.
So a very specific spy movie.
Yeah.
One James Bond movie.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I'll never tell which one.
My least favorite is going to be Seen and Not Seen.
All right.
I feel like the whole second half of this album is kind of slow.
Yeah,
Kinda
it's
drags
kinda
a little
front-loaded.
bit. It's front loaded. I mean, except for Once in a Lifetime. And I know I've kind of talked about this before, but like I can't get into like talking vocals.
Yeah.
It has to be like something really cool for me to really like jive on something like that.
Right. Well, like I was saying, this was a like post writer's block, so I think there's definitely a lot of liberties taken in how he attacked the vocals on this record. Sometimes it worked, and I would definitely agree that sometimes it didn't work so much. Are we on to my least favorite now?
Yeah, we are.
All right. Mine was the Overload.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So that was the
you
song.
mean the Joy Division song?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Sorry,
Yeah.
fucking does Joy Division.
Yeah, so apparently they tried to do a Joy Division song without ever having listened to the band.
Oh, wait, is that serious?
That's what I read in my
that's
research,
awesome.
which is kind of a hilarious way to do something like
It is, and they got closer than they should have.
I still
Wait, so that was the actual intention?
yeah,
Holy shit.
and they did a good job actually
Considering,
the production especially. You know, I'm sure was listening to Joy Division enough to make it sound like that very like buzzy and empty snare.
yeah.
But yeah, that one just fucking drags the hell on and doesn't really do much, beyond the aestheticness of it. It's kind of boring.
I didn't mind that track, but it definitely didn't feel like a good ending track.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Especially after there were so many like high energy tracks on the first half of the album.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
agreed.
the track where, like, if you're listening to this thing late at night, like you're driving home at 3:30 in the morning and you're exhausted and it's on, like, the police are going to find you in a ditch and that's just going to be on repeat. Just like,
Well, now that you say it, that's kind of cool. Just thinking
He
about
died
Jim.
doing what he loved, listening to a song he didn't really like.
I used to not like that song, but then my friend got fucked up real bad in a motorcycle accident, so now I like it because of that.
It's a great song, but my friend, he's not the same guy anymore.
He crashed into a guardrail, and now he thinks there's dogs. He just thinks there's dogs everywhere.
Always woofing. Yeah, I tried to take him to the Rush concert last year, and he just kept talking about dogs.
He doesn't know the truth like you and me. We know there's no such thing as dogs.
We was at the Doobie Brothers concert, and they were just like, when are they going to sing a song with all these dogs on the stage?
Then the surprise reveal at the end is that I was the guy in the accident.
I was the dog all along.
Oh, Christ.
Woof, woof.
What you got there, Pat?
Mackie on drums.
That's a xylophone.
Did you get that? Did you get that?
Adding a little zazz to the show.
Did you get that at a McDonald's Happy Meal or what?
Oh, I got it for my birthday, actually.
Oh, so we got to talk about the McDonald's that's across the street from your place. It is looking dope.
Yeah, I mean, I
They
wouldn't
did a
know
great
because
job on
I didn't eat there today. I wouldn't know. Yeah, it's looking pretty fantastic. They got the dual drive-through.
You know,
Sweet.
Yeah.
I have to bring something up because I also ate at McDonald's today on the way here. Something about Patrick just guides me towards McDonald's. I don't know. I saw
We're
the
all
sign.
going to die by 45.
I know. I saw the sign on the side of the highway, and you know what fucking pisses me off? When you see a sign for food, and then you get off the highway, and then it's like 5 fucking miles off the highway.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Like I got off the highway in Franklin and ended up in like somewhere that wasn't Franklin to find this McDonald's.
Yeah, like Woonsocket, Rhode Island or something.
I took a trip to Albany last week, and on the way there, like, we stopped off at a at a rest station to get food, and it was McDonald's in Blandfield, Massachusetts. On the drive back, we were just thinking we should pull over somewhere and get food, and every single sign said "food, next exit." Yay! It's another McDonald's. Like, just McDonald's for the next 15 or so.
Well, there is nothing out in Western Mass, so I mean,
Yeah, they don't eat anything.
Yeah, that's true.
they eat pine cones.
They just eat, like, I don't know, the dogs or something.
We got to talk to him about the dogs. It's getting out of hand. I mean, it was cute at first when he used to write the little songs, but now they're starting to get real creepy. The songs he's starting to talk about.
They got dogs singing Christmas carols. They got dogs doing Hanukkah jams. They got dogs doing Kwanzaa ditties. They got whipped cream.
We have a wide variety of Hanukkah jams at our stores. Did I ever tell you guys about Mick Combat?
No.
So my brother and I, back when I was in high school, we had an idea for a video game called Mick Combat, and it would
Wait,
be combat
is that like a name, Mick Combat, or
Yep.
Mick Combat?
Yeah, Mick Combat. So capital M, little c, capital K, Mick Combat.
Mick Combat.
And basically, it would be a Street Fighter style game or Mortal Kombat, more to the point. Except it was all McDonald Land characters. So like you couldn't play as Ronald because he was like sort of like the
He was the end
Shao
boss?
Tzu. Yeah, he was the last boss. But you could be like Grimace or Birdie or the Professor
The
or
Hamburglar.
Hamburglar or and we
Mayor
were trying to.
McCheese.
Yep, any of your favorites. And we worked out a way that you could have McNuggets or Fry Guys as well. The Fry Guys would be like 3 on top of each other, like a kid trying to sneak into a movie wearing an overcoat. And the McNuggets would just be a floating swarm of them that could like sort of like form arms to punch and things like that.
Oh, boy.
So going back to
Sounds delicious.
So going back to furniture. So my buddy Eric works at Byrne and Phil's, and my friend Craig does a fucking spot on impression of Bernie. And
He just sounds like fucking intoxicated at 10 in the morning.
So he went into the store one day and was just walking around aimlessly in the Bernie and the Phil's going, "Hey, it's Bernie. Fuck Jordan's furniture." and all of the employees thought it was him. Like, really him.
Those of you listening outside of New England, I'm sure like your region of the country has like your own furniture store salesman, but a lot of them have very strong Boston accents.
I think we should call them furniture slingers.
Furniture
Like that
slingers,
specific
if you
thing
will.
is my
Unless
buddy,
you're Flea Market Montgomery or someone like that.
Flea Market Montgomery.
You guys seriously don't know Flea Market Montgomery, the fucking music video commercial Like, there's just this really dippy 1980s hip-hop funk beat playing in the background, and there's this guy in a suit just doing this crappy rap, just being like, living room, bedrooms, dinettes.
That sounds
okay,
familiar
you can find it at the market. It's just like a mini mall.
That sounds familiar now that you mention it.
That.
It's real.
It makes me think of the flea market commercial where the woman's like was looking at the camera but kept looking side to side nervously, where she's like, "It's more fun than Quincy Market," but then she just kept looking from side to side, like, "Can you please lower the gun now?"
Yeah.
Just off camera, there's like some big thugs in suits just being like,
I wonder what flea market thugs would look like. Like, because I assume they're not wearing suits.
You know, thugs. Except, like, hand-me-down suits.
Hand-me-down suits?
Suits that still have the tags on them.
No, it would be fun? Like a suit top, but sweatpants.
Oh, that would be fun. You know, I would like to do that around the office. That's like kind of a cool take on Casual Friday.
That would be such a fucking power move. You show up
business.
like a tie and shirt and coat, but you're wearing sweatpants.
But wearing sweatpants underneath? Why the fuck not?
And tuck into the sweatpants, too.
It's a man of action right there.
Make a big power move with your fucking Far Side mug.
Oh, yeah, that's a person who's going to take action in the office.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time for anything else.
That's a career person. They're on the upward trajectory, and your best bet is to, hope to follow in their wake.
Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker.
The less fabric there is between the world and your taint, the more likely it is you're going to succeed in the corporate world.
That's why I like to not wear pants to work.
Yeah, it's true, and I've said several grievances to HR already, but it's clear they don't want to hear my voice. So you're just gonna keep doing you, bro. Cool, awesome. MVP moment, Lee.
Good segue. My MVP moment was the portion of Cross-Eyed and Painless when they start chanting "Still Waiting." Especially like the second part.
Ooh, yeah.
Because they've just sort of settled into this really good groove at that point. It's very, very catchy, and it always just, I mean, this is probably like a cop-out, but it always reminds me of when they performed it during Stop Making Sense, and everyone just went completely ballistic with like all the instruments they were playing and stuff. It was fantastic.
It's just this fucking fun song, and like Tina Weymouth is tearing it up with that like slap bass line there. It's
slapping a bass.
Yeah, you can tell her fingers are just like bleeding all over that bass track. It's great. And like all the like fun little clav shit going on, bouncing around, and I think Adrian Belew is bellewing around.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, sorry to interrupt, but I figure that this is a good time to point this out. I wrote a note for a different song that just said something about a blue job. And I was so impressed by Blue Job after I looked at I started laughing out loud to myself. I was standing away from the rest of you.
I heard you.
If you heard me laughing to myself at one point, that's when it was over. But I drew arrows like pointing at it just so I would remember to talk about Blue Job.
Is that at the point where you said I'm 12?
Yep.
Oh man, so we're talking about the old Bare Necessities bear from the Jungle Book, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, he was a guitar playing bear.
He also played. That's right. On he was on Tailspin as well, right?
I think was he a different character?
That was basically Jungle Book with planes.
Yeah, like
it mirrored the plot 100%. But they had flying technology.
It's
from
the exact same plot as
era.
Jungle Book, except everyone's in a plane.
Yep,
and
their own personal plane too.
Yep, yeah, everyone owned a plane. Well, except for the kid. He just like. For some reason, Baloo was like a fucking reckless guardian for the child and allowed him to just like hang out the back on a rope.
And Shere Khan was like, instead of being like a vicious predator, was like a merciless capitalist or something.
Yeah.
Just pounding his fist on the table.
Yeah, and Louis was like a fucking like
Louis
bartender.
was literally Louis Prima at that point.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, he was like
As
sort
always.
of like he was sort of a weird take on like Rick from Magnum, like the bartender.
I thought you meant like Casablanca Rick,
Well,
because he owned a bar.
Casablanca Rick is the inspiration for Rick from Magnum, but sadly, my mind goes to Magnum first.
All right, Christopher, what is your MB?
I'm gonna go with those guitar lines on "Born Under Punches."
I'm not a drowning man, and I'm not a burning building. I'm a tumbler. Drowning cannot hurt a man. Fire cannot hurt a man. Not the government man.
Them were some fucking tasty ass little guitar parts.
Yeah. That's a fucking fun song, too.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say the line that I normally say because it's fucking. I'm not a fucking trained monkey. But let's just say if I were an Italian chef, I'd be into it.
It's funny you mentioned monkeys because there were like all kinds of parts where people just going like. It reminded me of Watermelon Man by Herbie Hancock. Another great song that has people going in it.
Yeah, I mean that is a category of song.
Yep. And the Human Z was on this record, too, right? Not
Fucking
there.
little prick.
Yeah, you could hear him quietly smoking his cigar in the back.
Yeah, he made his way around the circles with Eno and Bowie and all that and Iggy Pop.
God, can you imagine if
Iggy
Bowie
Pop got him into
travels like
heroin.
around Europe on a train with a fucking monkey, and he's like, "I'm gonna go to Düsseldorf and try to convince Kraftwerk to record my next album, which I will call Low," and they're not gonna say yes.
That song had Kraftwerk sounds on it too.
It did, yeah.
It had Pocket Calculator sounds.
Yeah, actually, and it would be the same year as Computer World as well.
Good point.
So it might have been conscious, might not have been, but
Yeah, I mean that was like a great pocket of years with music. Some good shit happening. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff that I like.
And then it became the 80s.
Yeah, it didn't really become the 80s till like 83.
I don't know if that's technically how it works, but all right.
No,
No,
that's how it
It's
works.
not. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
up for discussion.
My MVP moment.
Use your words, bro.
In,
My CVV card number is
in Once in a Lifetime, the delay there on the word. I think it's remove, right? He's saying remove.
Under the water, carry the water. Remove the
I think that's a tape echo, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's Eno.
That
doing
was a
some
good
Eno-y
part.
things.
Just Enoing it up.
I thought it was cool.
For some reason, when I imitate Brian Eno, I want to do this with my mouth. I actually got some fantastic sounds on Coldplay's Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends by using a delay unit.
Because that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. I got Chris Martin to leave the room for an entire day, and that was our finest day in the studio.
Before we get off of Once in a Lifetime, I swore that I would look this up. When we were listening to it, like we were just going back and forth with movies that use Once in a Lifetime in its trailer. So I tried to find a list of movies that use it as a trailer. I don't think I found a complete list, but the list that I found includes The Family Man, W, and Wreck-It Ralph. As well as like it's used as like a actual song in Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Rockstar, and Hot Tub Time Machine.
And it was also in the Truman Show trailer and Downsizing.
It's not a
as well.
complete
Are you
list.
talking Rockstar like the
Mark
Marky
Wahlberg?
Mark
Yes.
Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston?
Strangely enough,
Bro,
I did also.
You guys wearing a big fucking suit. What the fuck are you doing? Bro, check
Wow!
I'm gonna get the opportunity to sing for Steel Dragon, bro.
Look at show me this new wave garbage.
Looks like we got a distortion pedal here.
Hey, kid, I'm gonna sample Lou Reed, kid.
All right, so this is actually going to transition me into, speaking of like shitty mainstream actors. So we're on the flight home from Vegas today, and the guy sitting in the aisle had headphones on, and he's one of those people who doesn't realize how loud he's being while he has headphones on, and he's watching some fucking movie with Owen Wilson and Ed Helms, and is cracking the fuck up.
I mean,
on the plane.
I mean, they're a silly bunch.
Like
Two of our days,
They're
finest
like
funny men.
like
They're
like
very silly boys.
belly, like the plane is like silent. You just hear this guy like, yeah, like, and then the stewardess comes over. The stewardess comes by, and he's like, you got to watch this movie. Like, it's got Terry Bradshaw in it, and they're trying to figure out if he's their dad, and they don't know. And the stewardess is like, what is the movie called? He's like, I don't know, but it's so funny.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
And then he's like, then his wife's on the other side of the aisle. He's like, honey, are you watching this right now? And she's like, no.
like at this point, like who are we to take that like pure unadulterated joy away?
No, I know. I was like,
good on him.
We're already terrible.
I was kind of irritated, but then I was like, you know what? He's having a fucking blast.
We're
over there.
already terrible
I'm gonna let
for-
him have this one.
We're already terrible for
almost-
laughing at his mirth.
Yeah.
You almost want to call up like Owen Wilson or Ed Helms and be like, you know what? This is why you do it. This is why you guys do it. And they'll be like, and the two of them will be there, like, you know, having brunch or whatever in LA. Like, oh yeah, yeah.
But I mean, like, I kind of looked over, just kind of like looking at the screen he was watching, and like he was just cracking up at any time they opened their mouth. I mean, I'm kind of curious about this movie.
Can you imagine if the two of them were secretly in the funniest movie of all time? And I say secretly because the movie was probably widely released and like 10 people probably saw it opening night, like most of their movies. But because so few people saw it, it flew completely under the radar.
Now it's like a percentage thing, like the amount of jokes written into the script that actually like fall and are like funny,
That actually land, yeah.
that actually land well.
Yeah, because like if you watch something like Grown Ups 2, that has like a million jokes
Yeah.
per minute, but just none of them are funny.
It's like a Family Guy episode.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. I just looked it up. Owen Wilson, Ed Helms. The one result that comes up is a 2017 movie called Father Figures.
Oh, that's gotta be it. Yeah,
has-
if they're trying to figure out a fucking Terry Bradshaw.
has-
All right. What's the
and I-
plot of this movie?
I'll figure that out. It's got 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, 22% on
Now that's
Metacritic.
funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
Owen
that tracks.
Wilson and Ed Helms star in the Alcon entertainment comedy Father Figures, marking the directorial debut of veteran cinematographer. Wilson and Helms are Kyle and Peter Reynolds,
Oh yeah,
brothers,
that's plausible. Them as brothers.
brothers whose eccentric mother raised them to believe their father had died when they were young. When they discover this to be a lie, they set out together to find their real father and end up learning more about their mother than they probably ever wanted to know.
Question: who played the mother? I want Catherine Keener. Fingers crossed for Catherine Keener.
I'm looking.
Mary
I'm looking at.
Steenburgen.
I'm looking at the list of people in
could be
here. They
Steenburgen.
list both.
Yes.
They list both June Squibb and Glenn Close as being in the film. So
Glenn Close.
no wait,
Close.
and Oscar nominee Glenn Close as the twins' mother.
Of course.
Twins.
They list her.
Oh, get the fuck out! No. Who directed
Wait.
this?
Here's the funny thing.
glossed right over who directed
Here-
this.
Here's the funny thing. They list her credits as Albert Nobbs, the film that she was nominated for an Oscar for, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, a bit of a.
Also, knobs.
Father Figures marking the directorial debut of veteran cinematographer Lawrence Sher of the Hangover films.
Oh fuck yeah! It's about time. Sure gets his due.
And it's also got like J.K. Simmons, Cat Williams, Terry Bradshaw, Ving Rhames, Harry Shearer, June Squibb.
So I
Harry
like
Shearer.
Christopher Walken's in it, against all reason.
No,
Okay,
Walken.
sure.
Walken will be in any movie. That's literally a thing. Like Walken will be in
that's
any
true.
movie if his schedule allows it, because his personal philosophy is that he can learn something from any role.
All right,
Yeah, he
let's get him for the
he
48
flat out
hour
does
now,
not
shit.
turn down work.
Is he one of those guys who like works for scale too? A lot of the times too.
J.K. Simmons also, I like what he does, but I'm pretty sure he will just like work for a hot meal.
Yeah.
Because he's in a lot of shit that he really shouldn't be in.
Yeah, ditto Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could call him up to be on the podcast sometime, probably.
Oh, how dope would it be to have like fucking Ving Rhames or J.K. Simmons on this?
Ving Rhames come in and review Sigur Rós with us,
Oh man.
or some other
Wow.
like obscure.
Get Terry
Icelandic.
Bradshaw to do that one.
Terry Bradshaw, Sigur Rós. So
what was your MVP moment, Patrick?
All right, so I was going to get to that. My MVP moment was actually seen and not seen, just sort of like figuring out the arrangement and the instrumentation of it was like really the moment that the album kind of, like what the album was trying to achieve. Like I felt like I connected with that a bit.
Face to approach those of his ideal. The change would be very subtle. It might take 10 years or so. Gradually his face would change its shape. The more hook nose.
It feels very random, but I really like the way that it, in the end, the way it was arranged. I know Lee didn't like it so much, but
Nope.
and it wasn't. I'm not saying that it was my favorite song necessarily either, but that was like after the immediateness of getting into the first half of the album. That's when like kind of getting into that song kind of made that like less sensical second half make a little more sense to me, or stop making sense. Because that's what you're supposed to do.
I get it.
I see what you did.
It's like the song.
On the other hand. Yeah. So like none of us like really consider this to be our favorite Talking Heads album. Like
Yeah, let's go round robin. What's your favorite Talking Heads album?
Speaking in Tongues, actually, is my favorite.
Yeah, I would say Speaking in Tongues as well. Maybe that or Fear of Music.
Mine's Fear of Music.
Fear of Music. Yeah, fucking Memories Can't Wait is just such a good song. It's probably
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite song of theirs.
Yeah, Fear of Music is kind of like
That felt more together than
Yeah.
Remain in Light did.
Well, because it's actual songs. It's not like just like
Right.
the same fucking
It's not
groove
just
for
sound
6
experiments.
minutes with like
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's still got like some really good sound experiments from Eno on it too, but like it definitely feels like Eno was way more at the helm on Remain in Light than with because like wasn't at that point Eno starting really to transition into like the music for airports kind of stuff and getting really
yeah.
I think he had
experimental?
already done that, but what's interesting is the reason that Talking Heads stopped working with him, I think after this album, was because they thought that he was sort of looking at them to be like more or less his house band for other projects that he was working
that
on.
makes sense.
Yeah, so they kind of distanced themselves from him after that.
Jim, what's your favorite?
I was gonna say Speaking in Tongues as well, but there's what's the name of the live one that they do?
Stop Making Sense.
Yeah, that's like one of the few like live albums that I really dig.
Yeah.
The version of Slippery People on that, I think, is that on that one?
yeah, it is. It's on there.
Yeah, that's an album where the live versions of a lot of the songs on there far
Yeah.
outperform the studio versions. Like everything from Speaking in Tongues on that is way better than the album version. Like Burning Down the House is not a fucking question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naive Melody, way better.
Yeah, I feel like the Speaking in Tongues kind of captures the stronger aspects of Remain in Light, like the repetitive, like the relentlessness of it, but the songs are a lot catchier and like a lot more concise. There's more hooks. There's more things kind of drawing you in other than just the abstractness.
There's a little bit more of a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck do we do now? Is this
Comparable
comparable album?
Albums.
Lee, what do you got?
I'm gonna name 2 albums. For the Afrobeat influences, I'm gonna say "Zombie" by Fela Kuti because
Zombie!
nope, that's wrong.
Sorry.
That's incorrect.
My bad.
Because like
Rest in peace.
like we said,
The look you gave me was so good. Just a fucking sneer.
I just want my rest in peace.
There's a deep cut for y'all.
peace.
Sorry, I believe you were talking about...
That's the name of my funeral. I'm like, cheap funerals at rest in peace.
like you said at the beginning, this album was very influenced by Fela Kuti, and I said "Zombie" because that's my favorite Fela Kuti album. And for all like the new wave and like proto new wave stuff, I'm gonna say "Call of the West" by Walla Voodoo.
Ah.
Oh yeah.
They're a not very frequently referenced act, I've got to say.
Yeah, I fucking dig it though. It's a good ass album. Even if all you listen to is Mexican radio, I'd definitely give it a spin.
Yeah, I'll give that a listen. For me, I would say kind of a weirdo pick, but for me, I would say an album that does something similar in a lot of ways, but lands it is "Disintegration" by The Cure.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting comparison.
In an album where a lot of the songs are based off of repeating riffs almost in like a mantra sort of fashion and constructing an entire song out of one riff. I think that's an example of an album that does it better. But yeah, it was kind of what I was thinking of at different points during this.
Yeah, I could see like Prayers for Rain being comparable to The Overload.
Yeah, I was thinking of like Prayers for Rain, Untitled, Homesick.
Yeah, that album kind of does explore like ambience a lot better than Remain in Light does. I feel like now that you mention it, I
and
wouldn't have thought
really
of that.
like milking as much as possible out of one riff.
Right.
Just trying to like squeeze out of every little bit of juice that you can get.
So, somehow on Disintegration they feel more like songs though, and like I said, so much of Remain in Light just sounds like jams.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is like it was all written. Like it wasn't like a jam session. Like it was mostly like Robert Smith writing demos and stuff like that. So it was a written album. It didn't come from jams. Even though the end result is kind of not too far off from that.
My comparable album is probably gonna piss off everybody in this room, and it's not because it's sonically the same. It just I happen to be listening to a lot of Talking Heads while I was riding the Red Line, and also Reflector by Arcade Fire.
That's such a fucking shit album.
I listened to that a few times, and I was like, yeah, this because I actually liked The Suburbs. I liked that
Suburbs
album.
was a great album.
Yeah, and then I tried to get a Reflector, and I was like, but
I didn't think it was that bad.
I liked the song Reflector.
I had to stop listening to it halfway through.
I don't
never
even
listened to the
remember
entire
it.
thing.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as Christopher, but maybe I should give it another listen. 'Cause I trust Jim.
Why?
Because you're real handsome.
Again, what?
Because you have a kind face.
Kind eyes and kind cheeks.
He has kind of a face.
Yeah, he does have kind of a face.
I get it.
It's part of a face. My comparable album was Peter Gabriel's Melt, the third album that we actually covered on an earlier episode.
Speaking of that, I've had I don't remember stuck in my head for like the last 3 fucking weeks.
Wow, yeah,
That
that's
sucks. That was my least favorite of that one.
You're right, it was.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
it sort of got that like 120 walking beat to it
Yeah.
that like, you know, if you're feeling anxious, it'll pop right in and
Yeah.
you know, fill those grooves. Yeah, it's an album I got into it around the same time. It came out, you know, both in 1980. Both records that, you know, I kind of look to for inspiration for certain reasons. More so the Peter Gabriel album, I think.
I told you I just picked up So, right?
On vinyl.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah.
I would do that at some point. That's a
I think I got it for like $6 too.
wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it for $6?
Used bin at Newbury Comics. I got that and
The New
the hell
Insane
is
Clown Posse?
yeah, my favorite.
You are the foremost authority on Insane Clown Posse,
do they
after all.
do they even know what vinyl is?
Well, they don't know what magnets are. So.
No, they just don't know how
Vinyls, how do they
Correct.
work?
Vinyls, how do those work?
I like pluralizing vinyl. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to some vinyls. It's very good.
I'm gonna go watch some porns.
What are some
Oh,
other
it's
fun
a Steely
things we
Dan
can-
album. What the hell's the name of the Steely Dan album I got for $3?
Oh, which one?
Aha.
No.
Some porns? by Steely Dan?
Some porns.
Some porns.
Let's
what-
hold,
what-
please.
Pretzel Logic.
Nope.
Katie Lied.
Nope.
World
YYZ.
Scam.
Everything Must Go?
Nope.
2112.
What?
Can't Buy a Thrill. Countdown to
That's what it's. Countdown to
Final Countdown?
no.
Countdown to Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Not Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth.
Countdown to Ecstasy. I got it
Pete
for like
Salzman, who's
$3.
buying?
Yeah, I got Peter Gabriel and fucking Steely Dan for
Yeah,
under
so that's-
$10 at Newbury Comics.
That's an album that's a grower, not a shower.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get into Countdown to Ecstasy. It just doesn't have the immediateness of. It's kind of jammy, kind of like, you know, the
It's got
the folly of
raspberry
this
jam
record.
all over it.
Yeah, raspberry
Hanukkah jam.
Did you say Hanukkah jam?
Yeah, it was referenced earlier. Were you just not fucking paying attention?
I know.
Hanukkah jams and Kwanzaa ditties.
Oh, jams, like those kind of
And then I
jams.
made the delightful joke about having a store that sold a variety of Hanukkah jams.
Yeah.
Bernie.
Let's rate this album. Lee, what do you rate this album?
I am going to give this. I am going to give this album a 7 out of 10. Like I said, I don't think it's the best Talking Heads album out of all of them. I really think like a lot of beyond like its critical success, I really think a lot of its success was kind of built on, you know, Once in a Lifetime being such a successful music video.
Yeah. I will also give it a 7 out of 10 because even weak Talking Heads is much better than listening to
Some
Puddle
porns.
of Mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by no means a bad album.
Yeah, exactly.
This one's going to get a 6 out of 10 from me because I am actually not that familiar with Talking Heads. My knowledge of the Talking Heads is that live album that we talked about and basically the best of the Talking Heads. So, and then other than the fact that I know David Byrne because he fucking had a building in New York City that you could go and play, which I really wanted to go do and never got around to.
Touch my house.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
play it.
know what's house.
My house in motion.
But yeah, I don't know.
Is he a goblin?
This
David Byrne's haunted house. David Byrne's existential nightmare house.
Come to my house and put your hand in this bowl full of eyeballs and brains. It's not spaghetti. Why would I say that?
And put your hands on my lap.
Now,
Sorry, wrong club.
now you made it weird.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's what made David Byrne
This
weird.
has been weird. This has been weird since day one.
Yeah. Anyways, I gave it a 6. I think the second half of the album is weak, and that's it.
Yeah,
I don't even think I have a slam for this album.
No, you didn't have a slam. That's good. Let's let tradition die. Let the past go. Kill it if you have
doesn't
to.
really slam at any point.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you two guys and give it a 7. I was almost gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it a strong 7. I think it's not a perfect album. I think it definitely is influential in a lot of ways, but in a lot of other ways, I feel like maybe its legend is sort of overblown a bit. Nice pen tricks. You'll only ever be pen 14. You'll
Are
never
you
be pen
bored,
15.
Jim?
Yeah, sorry.
What?
Sorry we're boring you.
I told you, I'm all fucked up today.
Aren't we all? Aren't
I had to
we
deal with
all?
Mr. Gut Laugh on the plane, and
One thing I will say about Talking Heads, like on the whole, and this might be a hot take, but I don't know. In like the whole of like that whole pantheon of like stereotypical classic rock radio kind of artists, I really think that they've, you know, aged the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
They were, I think they were kind of idiosyncratic enough where they didn't easily lump in with a lot of the other artists at the time. Like for example, Blondie kind of catered a little bit more to the trends.
Right.
So as a result of like the CBGB's bands, they're kind of more time-stamped than Talking Heads would be.
Well, like these guys were Talking Heads were in the beginning sort of leaning towards the pop caterings and in their own weird way. They always those first two albums just sound like weird pop songs to me. Like a bunch of weird David Byrne songs, and Fear of Music kind of blends the more experimentation of it and bringing in the different textures, which I think is why it's probably the most rewarding listen.
going back to the Gut Laugh guy.
Sorry.
Right, let's not bury the lead.
I was just thinking, if that guy was laughing so hard at that shit movie, I wonder what it's like when he watches like an actual funny movie. Like, is it to the point where he's laughing so hard he's like
I don't
throwing
think
up?
he gets it.
He's throwing up. His eyes are like bleeding. He's just laughing so hard.
I legit think he wouldn't get it. Like if you put like fucking, I don't know, Waiting for Guffman on, and like he's just watching it, just going, this does nothing for me.
Well, we could even go with something a little bit more like with more broad appeal than Waiting for Guffman, like showing him. So even if we're gonna stay in that same arena, like I wonder what would happen if he watched like Kingpin. Which
your
I'm
go-to?
gonna say is probably a funnier movie in the same sort of
He
vein
laughs
as something
so
that
hard
would be
that the
in.
fucking plane goes down. That's
His
I would like to
laughter is
believe
an
it would
act
kill
of
him.
terrorism at that point.
He laughs, but he laughs, but laughs does not come out of his mouth. Instead, lasers.
I assume it would kill him. It would be his death laugh.
Ha ha!
So that came to 6.75.
Cool.
Rating, which, I mean, sorry guys, sorry Talking Heads. I thought you would deserve better than that, but I guess not from us.
yeah. I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, we all are deep down inside. Lee, you got anything to plug?
Go check out Pat and I's other podcast, Jukebox Zeroes, where we review albums that people don't like, and sometimes we like them.
Yeah, it's always a hoot. Always a good time.
Both Jim and Chris have been on it, so what do you got to lose?
Yeah, go. You can check out past episodes. Check out some of the new ones. I don't know. We're thinking about doing some more episodes.
Episodes?
Some more epilepsy.
More episodes.
All right, so Patrick's melting in front of us.
Oh my god, Patrick's reducing!
All right, there are no bones anymore. It's just a pile on the floor.
Oh yeah,
of what's left of him.
He's
turned me into a sauce.
He's become the talking pile of garbage from Fraggle Rock.
Have you ever read I Must Scream But Have No Mouth by Harlan Ellison?
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
All right, Christopher, you got anything going
Patrick's
on?
got a mouth, though.
I do.
He does.
I'm just a talking pile of demi-glace at this point.
I don't have anything to plug.
Yeah.
You should watch Mom and Dad featuring Nick Cage. And you won't be let down. It is Pete Cage.
I kind of like the bad lieutenant that he does. I don't know. It was fun. It was a romp.
It was better than the Bernard Sumner Bad Lieutenant, am I right? Ho ho ho!
Ho!
Oh,
That's a New Order joke.
Hot cha!
fucking Rodney Dangerfield, everybody. The dog. Jim?
Oh,
what do you
hey.
got? What do you got crack-a-lacking?
I'm still working on the Cactus Attack album. God knows when that's going to be out. Also, I've been trying to do this thing where I post a minute-long drum clip a day. So if you want to watch me jerk off all over my drum kit, at Metadrummer.
For those of you who are running to Instagram right now, just be forewarned, he was not speaking literally.
That was a metaphor.
That was a metaphor. So, Jim, I'm sorry to hurt your view count, but I feel like we need to be honest with the people.
It's true.
All right, and let's see, what do we got? Bears for Years. Oh, you're gonna come drum for Bears for
Oh,
Years.
yeah.
August 31st. We got
Jim the drum whore.
McGann's Irish Pub.
Drum whore.
Dang.
I am a drum whore. Drummer.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good joke. I think that would work, honestly. But let's workshop it a bit.
All right, you guys go ahead. I'll workshop it.
All right, cool.
I guess my
Take
band's
it.
got gigs too, but no.
No. Oh shit. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Surprise party. What's
I
going
always
on?
forget. I always forget to do that.
That's fine. Jump in.
I guess this will date this episode, but next month we're playing at Kodo in Salem for the first time. That's like July 20th. We're playing with some. I'm not sure if any of these bands are from Salem or not. We're playing with the Knockups, State of the Union, OTP,
Oh, yeah.
and Kid Gulliver.
I know. I think the bass player from the Knockups. I grew up sort of around
Kat?
her. Is it Kat?
Yeah, I know Kat.
Cat Verlico. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not.
She's also in Yes Commander.
No, it wasn't Kat that I knew. It was Tracy. I don't know if she's
Oh.
in the band or.
I don't know who Tracy is.
Yeah, she used to be in a band like around my scene growing up.
Oh right.
So fun story about Kodo. It's not really about Kodo so much as the courthouse that's right next door.
Uh-huh.
I got called in for jury duty at one point, and I actually got selected to serve on the case.
Serve your duty.
Yeah, I did serve.
Feces.
So
I bet the airplane guy would have laughed at that.
It was a drunk driving case, and we broke for lunch one day, and there's a hot dog place right across the street that I cannot recommend. enough.
I
If
love
you like
hot
if you like a
dogs.
good dog, go check this place out. It's still there. I think it's called Boston Hot Dog Company.
I
or
think
something
you've told
like
me
that.
about this because I think we've talked about hot dogs before.
Yeah, no, it was
talked
pretty
about
good.
a few dogs.
But so I go over there and I'm doing jury duty, so I'm not in like a great mood. I'm just like, all right, it's lunch. I have this hot dog and these fries in front of me, and this is all I have to look forward to for the next several hours. So I'm really looking into just kind of laying into this and then just kind of relaxing here before going back to the courthouse. Who fucking walks in but the defendant and his parents and the attorney. So legally, I have to get the fuck out of there because I'm not supposed to be near that guy.
Oh no.
So I basically had to just grab my shit and like run across the street holding it like a fucking animal as I'm still like chewing food and then like eat it outside like a fucking monster.
Yeah, I mean that's a serious breach right there. If you catch them talking about their hot dog orders
Yeah.
legally, if you know what they put on their hot dogs,
He's getting a veggie dog? He was driving drunk.
you could be held in contempt of court for knowing what they put on their hot dogs.
Yeah, I just
should you be
It's an old
talking about
blue
this?
law, I think.
I mean the case is over by like 16 years or so,
Chris,
so I think
it's never over.
okay.
I've only been summoned for jury duty once, and I didn't even have to do it. I wonder if they forgot that I exist. I feel like doesn't that shit supposed to happen like every 4 years?
I haven't gotten anything since this, and this was I think 2000. When did Transatlanticism come out? By Death Cab?
2003.
Okay, so it was 2003. I remember because a friend of mine burned me a copy of it that I was listening to while driving up to Salem, and I was about halfway up there when I ejected the CD and threw it out the window. The only time I've ever done that, but it was with Transatlanticism.
Oh, Ben Gibbard beef.
Poor Ben Gibbard.
By the way, the guy was guilty.
Ben Gibbard?
Yes.
He was driving drunk.
Yeah, Ben Gibbard drove drunk. And that's
Oh,
why
he
Zooey
totally did.
Deschanel left him.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, I mean, to her credit, it got her the gig on The New Girl. Because they looked at her and they're like, you're someone with strength if you can survive being with a drunk like Ben Gibbard.
Yeah. I mean, at least Ben Gibbard didn't kill two people in a car accident like Matthew Broderick did.
Yeah, remember that?
I
He got
remember
away basically scot-free.
Yeah. But he did do
Pays
it.
to be Ferris Bueller. You can kill people.
Didn't Jimmy Page kill somebody?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
He basically kept
Tortured
like a
somebody, right?
14-year-old
Yeah.
it wasn't like captive, but like he kept a 14-year-old as like his girlfriend and on tour and stuff. And I don't know what the full deal with it was, but he's not a good man.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
those musicians were all monsters.
Yeah, they're all bad people.
What classic rock artist hasn't killed someone?
Phil Spector. No.
Robert Blake? Oh,
Oh.
well, he's an actor.
Wait.
But
Ted
Sebastian
Nugent?
Bach.
Yeah,
I
Sebastian Bach,
am willing
think.
to bet that Sebastian Bach has a storage locker filled with Cub Scout parts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those little weeblos.
Oh no! Fuck, let's get out of here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, we got Bears for Years playing at McGann's on August 31st, and you can check out my Project Smell now on Spotify. The live on WMFO record that I did that Christopher was a part of as well.
Heck yeah.
It was available on Spotify, streaming, as well as the debut album Woof. Anyway, yeah, so let's wrap this fucker up. Again, we are Old Men Yell at Cloud. This is Patrick.
I am Christopher.
I'm Jim, and we'll